Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Diverseability. Today we have my first ever in-person guest, Officer Nick Denton, over here. So we are talking about the issue of gun violence and how it's really prevalent in schools today. It's another topic that I wanted to explore. So I figured he's an officer, he's a good person to do it. So I guess just to get right into it, how important is it to know about gun violence, do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it's something that plagues the United States right now and a handful of other countries. And unfortunately, it's something that's in our schools and is in our cafeterias, and whether it's higher education or grade levels, and even out in like Walmarts and stuff like that. Like, gun violence is unfortunately everywhere. So it's pretty important to talk about this. It's one of the major topics. It's a glaring issue, and I think that every now and then we start to calm down on the conversation, but then some terrible tragedy happens and it's pushed right back into the spotlight. And we remember, oh yeah, this is something we need to be talking about. So it's an extremely important topic to be talking about. So I appreciate that you're talking about it and not just like skirting past it, because it's a tough topic and it says a lot about like the ability to talk about it well. So yeah, I'm excited to be here.
Yeah. Here's one of the questions I had on here is, how often would you say gun violence occurs? This can be like a roundabout number. It doesn't have to be exact.
Sure. So I mean, I'm no mathematician. I don't know stats. I don't count good. But what I will say is, like, in our area, if you look at the United States, Philadelphia, we're right outside of Philly here. Philadelphia is the 16th highest deadliest city in the United States when it comes to gun violence. So it's obvious that it's a big topic here, and it's prevalent here more so than most of the rest of the United States.
And just to be clear, there are 50 states, so that means there are a lot of cities. So 16 is pretty high. What's the highest?
It was like St. Louis, Missouri, or something like that.
Oh,
Yeah, it was like the deep south, right on the Gulf Coast.
no,
Yeah.
I'm not moving there.
Yeah, I would not.
And obviously, one of the places that we talk about the gun violence happens a lot at is in our schools. Why do you think gun violence is really prevalent in our schools, and how important is it to have security in our schools, especially in the K-12 setting where they may not know how to defend themselves?
Yeah. Unfortunately, part of the reason why there's so much gun violence in schools is because these people that are looking to commit these crimes are looking for what's called soft targets. Like, not many people that are looking to kill like 20, 30 people are going to go to the gun range and start shooting, because they know they're going to kill maybe one or two people before they're shot. But if they go to a high school or a grade school where they know no one is supposed to be armed, there's not supposed to be any guns, they're going to be the only one walking in there with a gun. And I think that's why it's important. It's an unfortunate thing, but it's important for schools nowadays to have armed security in schools, whether they're security officers that have received the proper training with firearms, or police officers. Like myself, I just got hired by a police department outside of the city of Philadelphia to be a school resource officer. So every day I'll be in the school, I'll be armed, and I'll be in there for so many reasons. But one of the reasons, and it's one of the most important ones, is if there's ever a violent critical incident, there's already a police officer on scene to handle it.
And honestly, that's amazing. And it's amazing that they have you, because you understand one of the things, you understand diversity and neurodiversity. And I think it's important to have an officer that understands all those things.
Yeah, my bio went out to the entire school staff last night, and today when I was at work, I had a bunch of teachers and faculty members come up to me and say, oh, I read your bio and we were expecting this like RoboCop that was like getting put into this position, but they read that like I went to college, I have a degree, that I've worked with like youth groups and that I've done work with the autism program, DCAP, and like all these other things. They're like, okay, this is a well-rounded person who is also a police officer that's coming into this role. So that's one of the reasons why I think like I'm super excited for this school year, because I know that this is going to be a good fit. It's going to be a lot of fun stepping into this role at the high school.
Yeah. You want to tell everyone where this high school is?
Well, anyone who knows you may know that it is Interboro High School, because that is where you went and your mother works. I'm very excited to be seeing her. I was walking around today looking for her there. She's not here today. That's a shame. So yeah, so I'm very, very excited for that. Obviously, fantastic people come from that school. So yeah, it's gonna be fun.
Yeah. I'll definitely be there quite a few times legally.
Yeah, please do. I really don't want to have to kick you out. Emma's back again. I'll handle it.
Yeah. What can we do like as a society to like understand and try to like lessen and maybe end the gun violence? Obviously we can't, and we might not ever be able to end it as long as we're alive, but how can we like work to like lessen the gun violence that happens?
Yeah, I think that a lot of people with good intentions try to tackle this topic and will say like, oh, we need to get rid of guns, or we need gun-free zones, or this, that, and the other. And like a lot of that could work well, and sometimes it doesn't work well. But like you look at high schools, like they're gun-free zones, and yet still you have some of the worst gun violence atrocities in the United States are at schools. So obviously saying, okay, no guns are allowed here doesn't work. I think that part of like the problem is it's not gun violence. I think it's the problem is violence. And we need to look at like, why are people violent? This summer I went to Europe and no one had a gun. And there was violence. Like people told us like, oh, you're gonna be in London. Don't go into the tube, because that's what they call it instead of a subway, like too late because you might get knifed. I'm like, oh my gosh, like this sounds like, be careful riding SEPTA too late, you might get shot. Like it's the same things, it's just different tools. So I think that the conversations we need to have is not so much like, how do we lessen gun violence? It's how do we lessen violence? And like one of the things is like the mental health crisis that goes on. There's a lot of people that are committing these heinous acts have a mental health emergency going on. And frankly, I think that in some aspects, we're heading the wrong direction with that. Delaware County's mental health facility or crisis facility went from being a 24/7 thing, and then due to staffing issues and money issues, they're now a Monday to Friday thing. So it's like, well, okay, it's Saturday evening, don't have a mental breakdown, no one's gonna be able to see you until Monday. Like that doesn't work, because now it's like the person is just gonna hurt someone or themselves. So I think that there's more than just like, gun violence is like the rash, but like, okay, what is causing that rash? We need to really like get to the bottom of like, why are we a violent people? It's a broken world. It's just, those are the tools available to people right now.
Yeah. It's definitely like something to think about, because I've gone back and forth about like, okay, what's the real issue going on here? What do we really need to talk about here? Is it guns? Is it mental health? It goes back and forth between people, and it's also a very political thing, and it really shouldn't be, because mental health should never be political. Like, and like we should all find a common ground with wanting to try to lessen violence that goes on, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Like so many things in today's world are just politicized. Like, okay, I'm a Democrat, so I have to believe X, Y, and Z. And I'm a Republican, so I have to believe A, B, and C. And it's like, okay, what if you're in this camp, but you believe that thing about that topic? Well, can we just like meet in the middle somewhere and like actually have honest conversations without letting like the blue and the red tell us what is right, what is wrong? Or like, if you believe this, you're a snowflake. Or if you believe this, you're a racist. It's like, whoa. Let's stop calling each other names and just talk like human beings. So it's a broken world. in case you haven't noticed.
It is broken, and I think it'll be broken for a long time, but having these like honest conversations about it, like especially with people who have different viewpoints, is really, really important. It can be really eye-opening too.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think it's important that you're having people on this show that agree with you and disagree with you on things that we can actually like. But the one common thing is like friends. Like we don't agree on everything, but we're friends.
Yeah.
So we can talk. And I wish that people did that more often instead of just surrounding themselves with people that only agree with them. Nothing's getting done that way.
Yeah, no. Well, anyway, that's all I had for this episode. I know it was a little short, but straight to the point. That's how I like to do things. Some of my episodes are a little bit longer, some of my episodes are straight to the point. It just depends on how I'm feeling. And I apologize, I just cracked my knuckles. There you go. There you go, people. Is there anything you want to say before I stop the recording?
Yeah, I think that like going back to the whole like, hey, find friends that you can have these conversations with. I've had conversations with friends who, like on Facebook and stuff, which is like a terrible place. It's not as bad as Twitter. Twitter's just terrible. But like friends who've said like, I really don't like cops, but I like you. And I'm like, yes, let's talk about this. Let's have an open dialogue. Obviously, you are painting with a broad brush here. And like, I do the same thing. Like, oh, I'll use like a comical example, like, oh, you're a Dallas Cowboys fan. Oh, you're the only one that I like stuff like that. I would say one of the biggest things I would like suggest to your viewers, I almost said listeners, but they can see us, I guess, is find the friends that you don't agree with and talk to them. Because at the end of the day, and like start off with the agreement that at the end of the day, no matter what we say, we're going to stay friends. Some of my best friends, I vehemently disagree with on a bunch of topics. So I would say that. Let's make the world a little bit of a better place that way.
All right. Yeah. Well, thank you very much for joining us. I think this was a really helpful conversation. And I hope when these suggestions, people don't just like, oh, I'm just gonna shut my laptop off. This is ridiculous. Don't do that, please.
Yeah, no. I mean, you've made it this far. Yeah, good job.
Anyway, that is the end of our episode. Make sure to like and subscribe these videos, and watch my other episodes too, and watch other episodes, like I said, and putting comments. I'd like to hear your thoughts. I generally do, because I really care about this, and I do care about what people think. So
even the ones you disagree with.
yes.
Watch those too.
Yes.